So, welcome everyone. Nice to see all of you. So when you sit down and you spend some time with yourself, as we all did just now, then you will get to know yourself quite automatically. And when people are locked into a cell, into a room with nothing much to do, they come up with reflections about their life, how they behaved and what they did and who they are as a person in general. But when you are very busy throughout your everyday life, when you're busy with work, busy with projects, busy entertaining and distracting yourself, obviously then you don't get to know yourself in any way. When you're directing your attention away from yourself, away from the content of your mind and your emotions, your body and your behaviors, how can you get to know yourself? It's impossible. You can't get to know anything that you're not paying attention to. So right now you've had a bit of an opportunity to look at yourself. I think meditation in that way is very much like looking into a mirror, getting to know yourself better, understanding what makes you tick, what makes you, like what kind of character are you? Are you agitated, restless, nervous, sitting there like waiting for the bell to go off? Or are you sitting there really comfortable within yourself, at ease, just happy to be there? Do you like yourself very much or not at all? Or somewhere in between? As soon as you close your eyes and the meditation begins, you start to criticize yourself, trying to adjust yourself, whipping yourself to concentrate more and do it harder and better and longer sessions, and it's never good enough? Or are you on the other end of the spectrum, totally lazy, just letting yourself drift? Whatever, I couldn't care less. Or somewhere in between. And of course, the more time you spend with yourself, the more you are actually willing to sit down and look, the more you get to know yourself. If you meet with yourself only one time, you won't see very much, because most of the time we're way too caught up in the stuff that comes into our minds. But over time you get some distance, and that distance allows you to really look and understand yourself on a much deeper level. To see what is it really at the base that drives you. What are you trying to achieve? Where are you trying to get? You're sitting there, your legs are crossed, your eyes are closed. And there's this sense of just trying something, right? What are you trying, really? I mean, what are you really trying? But what are you doing? Are you just trying to copy some system that you've heard or learned somewhere? Is it just in to meditate, the hip thing to do? Are you enjoying it as you sit there and watching your breath? Are you not enjoying it? If you're not enjoying it, then why put yourself through this? Why make effort? What drives you? What's the hope? What are the fears? Where there's hope, there's also always fear. They're very much like synonymous. I hope I will become more peaceful and more calm. So what do you mean by more peaceful? Exactly. How would that look like? And how would you then measure that you're approaching this goal? How would you know that you're actually getting closer to it? You're just supposed to sit down every day and kind of do the thing, and then you can go about your everyday life as if, like, okay, I did my meditation practice, now back to the things that really matter. Work, relationships. I think it's really important when you sit down and when you aim to take meditation into your everyday life as a serious practice, that you know why you're doing it, that you know what it is that you're looking for, really. Very often that's not the case at all. I see a lot of people, including myself, that would spend years not thoroughly actually questioning what they're doing. We're doing things just because others are doing it, maybe. It may be really as simple as that. We may just go to the church because, it's just what we do. And you may do that an entire lifetime long without ever questioning any of it. You may not even know the chants that are sung in the church or understand their meaning at all, but you're singing them every Sunday. Not ever once having really questioned the point of going to church. Like the real point. What is this actually about? What is God? And then you have people going to the temple here, just the same thing. Just put a bit of incense into a box and light a candle and chant some exotic Pali phrases that we don't understand what they mean at all, but we just do it anyways because that's what we do. How much in our lives is actually like that? You watch maybe something more mundane, you watch the news, sit in front of the TV, you watch the news, and then after that, your opinion is made. Like, oh wow, okay, now I know what's correct and what's wrong and what's good, what's bad, who I'm supposed to like and who I'm supposed to hate. Now the world makes sense. Right? That's the easy way. It's really easy like this. You just only need to accept what you're told, what you've read, what you've heard. There's no need for further reflection. You just take it on board and make it part of your character and your actions, your thought systems. Including the phrase, I'm free. And the feeling that comes with that phrase, I'm very free. I can choose whatever I want to think about. I can choose whatever I like and what I don't like. But is that actually the case? Are you yourself choosing what to like and what not to like? Are you choosing your preferences? Or are they conditioned? And if they're conditioned, then by what are they conditioned? How you treat yourself in meditation practice, are you choosing to do that? Are you choosing to sit here and be just totally annoyed, neurotic, restless? Are you choosing to have an unpleasant experience, an unpleasant 30 minutes? Is that your choice? You're choosing to get angry. When you go through the supermarket, are you choosing this soda over that? Is that a free choice? And then what's the outcome of all those choices? What's the outcome of all those thoughts that you're having? The way you talk with yourself, for example. You're sitting here, you're meditating, you talk with yourself. What's the outcome of that? What's the result of it? Does it make you feel easeful, or is it stressful? If it is stressful, then why would you do it? Why not do something that is more constructive, less destructive? Why harm yourself at all? All these things you can find out in meditation practice. That's why it's super valuable. So sit down and spend some time with yourself and get to know yourself. What you really get to know when I say you get to know yourself here, I'm talking about the level of actions and their results. That what you do comes with results. What you do is who you become. And you can see that very clearly in your meditation practice. So if you're sitting there for 30 minutes, let's say, being restless and complaining about your knees, your back, your hips, your lack of concentration, then who are you becoming in those 30 minutes? What are you getting better at? What is it that you're training during those 30 minutes then? Well, it's precisely what you're doing. That's what you're getting better at, isn't it? So if you're sitting there for 30 minutes and you're complaining and stressing out and hoping for the bell to ring, then you get really good at hoping for the bell to ring. You get really good at complaining. And the more often you do that, the better you're getting at this. It's not the case that there will be one magic day where suddenly you get it. You may have spent years of cultivating annoyance. And the end result then of that is that you come to the conclusion, oh, meditation is not for me. I just sit and I have a hard time. I can't concentrate. So done. Okay, finished with that one. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's try drugs. Let's try another relationship. Or let's just see what's in the fridge. And that's not because meditation doesn't work. It's because the way you've approached it, what you've been doing, has led to this. That conclusion, that feeling. So in a way, we could say that you are constantly creating yourself and recreating yourself. And as long as you're unconscious of the ways you do that, then that creative process is unconscious. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It still works. So what you're doing habitually up there and in your heart, in your emotions and in your body, in your actions, your speech, that is still determining who you're going to become. Whether you know it or not, doesn't make a difference. So you're not immune. You can't say, oh, I didn't know that this was the case. You will still have to experience the results. Doesn't make you immune, right? That's just how karma works. Karma meaning action. The word karma means nothing but action. That's how action works. You act, you get results. It's really simple and straightforward. But most of us, we don't know how we're acting. Especially not at the most subtle level, the level of the mind. We don't know how we're acting up in there. How are you thinking most of the time? It determines how you feel. And how you feel determines how you act. If I want to be very simplistic here. And then how you act determines the results, and the results then in turn stimulate thought. Thoughts in turn stimulate feeling, and so forth and so forth. So you have a creative circle here. And you you have the possibility, each one of us has that, to break such a circle, especially useful if those circles are not good, if they're harmful for yourselves and others. May have the ability to stop them, to interrupt them, and perhaps change them in ways that are better for you and others. And all that is possible for you if you can see what you're doing. If you can't see it, you can't break it and change it. Does that make sense so far? So that's a great benefit, would you agree? The ability to see yourself. Because if you can't see yourself, you can't make better decisions, then other things, other people will make decisions for you. Then of course, then you will always be in a situation where you will blame and finger point around you and say, oh, I feel bad because of him or her. I feel bad because of this or that. You'll never learn that you actually have a choice whether you feel bad or not. There's different options for you, right? Feeling bad is certainly not the only option. Say you break your leg. Is feeling bad about breaking your leg and complaining the only option that you have? No, of course not. We all know people that broke their legs and reacted in a very good way about it, with patience and perhaps inspiring others to be more patient. That's just a very simple example, yeah. Maybe you've lost your job, and so now you can just go into a depression for months and lose everything, your family too, and so forth. Or maybe you can deal with it differently, but dealing with it differently wouldn't be easy. I'm not saying it's like easy for everyone. You just be happy. It would take very different type of actions. And you'd have to learn to act those actions out so that your life becomes more the way you want it. And that's, yes, of course, it's not easy. But it's possible, and I think that's enough, really, to know that it's possible to you to shape yourself to a certain degree so that benefit is the result and goodness is the result for you in the long term. And that's also in your hands as to how much you suffer. All it takes is a bit of consciousness, a bit of willingness to actually look instead of just running away and distracting yourself with stuff, which is super easy nowadays. Easy to get distracted, right? There's always something to do. There's always stuff to do, always things to entertain yourself with. It's easier than ever. I remember when I was a little boy, I've had a lot of stretches where I was just super bored. There was nothing to do. Couldn't get out with my friends. It was raining. So I would sit by the window and look out at the rain and think, what could I be doing? What could I be doing? And then I came up with ideas of what to do. That's creativity. But nowadays you don't need to be very creative anymore. You can just look into your phone and be entertained for hours. It's very easy, but also very dangerous because it kills the spirit of creativity. It kills consciousness. It makes us more and more dull, less and less lucid. So yes, that's, I'd say, the topic of using meditation a bit as a mirror, where you check in with yourself every day and you see, like, okay, who am I becoming? Am I on the right track? Am I okay with myself? Truly. Can I stand myself? How do I treat myself? Okay? I think that's all about this topic. Are there any questions?